Hi, I'm Rachel, back with my cat Leia to talk about the 2015 Sami Rohr Prize. The Sami Rohr Prize honors emerging Jewish authors. I'm reviewing the awardees and a couple of runners-up for each of the fiction years. Back in March, I reviewed the 2009 Sami Rohr nominees. You can get to that video in the description box. Today, I'm here to talk to you about 3 works of fiction: Panic in a Suitcase by Yelena Akhterskaya, The Unamericans by Molly Antipol, and The Best Place on Earth by Ayelet Sabari. 2 of these works are short story collections and one is a novel. It seems lately that short story collections are working better for me, and this time is no exception. So I'm going to start with Panic in a Suitcase by Yelena Akhterskaya, a name that I hope I am not butchering too horribly. It chronicles a family that moves from Odessa to the States in the early 90s. Their new home in Brighton Beach, New York, is kind of a microcosm of their life in the old country, in that they mostly interact with their own. The real crux of the novel is the character Pasha, who stayed behind in Odessa to become a national poet. The story is divided in 2 parts, 1993 in Brighton Beach and 2008 in Odessa. Unfortunately, I really couldn't get into this story. I found both the characters and the narrative to be a bit lacking. This is the type of novel that gets praised in literary reviews for its sharp language. Akhterskaya, who holds an MFA from Columbia University, certainly knows how to turn a phrase. But I'm reminded of a snippet of conversation from a Salman Rushdie event last year, where he was addressing people at 6th and I Historic Synagogue in Washington, D.C. I'll include a link to said clip below. He claimed, "There is no reason why literature should be contemptuous of story." And come on, there's no arguing with Salman Rushdie. Next, I want to talk about The Unamericans by Molly Antipol. Like Akhterskaya, Antipol is part of the prestigious 5 Under 35 Club, a list that the National Book Foundation puts out annually. But I can get behind Antipol's writing. In a way, she claims the best of both worlds by writing long, short stories. They give plenty of room to flesh out characters and their situations in various multitudes. Antipol is also unique in that she writes from a variety of perspectives. Her characters are all centered in Israel, Eastern Europe, or the States, but their ages, genders, and personal motivations are vastly different. To say nothing of the historical range of the stories from the 1940s to the present day. I'm surprised that my favorite story is probably My Grandmother Tells Me a Story, a first-person conversational soliloquy about a young girl who took part in the Yiddish underground. In general, I try to stay away from most Holocaust fiction. I just feel like there's so much more to the Jewish story. But Antipol made this story extremely personal. This isn't the stereotypical morality tale about that era. This is about how trauma can harden a person and how it impacts the rest of her life. And the lives of her descendants, as it turns out. The last paragraph really gutted me because I think it speaks to my and Antipol's emotional response to the Holocaust 3 generations later. And finally, we have the Sami Rohr winner, The Best Place on Earth by Ayelet Sabari. I'd been looking forward to this collection finally being published in the States, but I was also a little wary. Some reviewers compare Sabari to Allegra Goodman and Jhumpa Lahiri, and I'm like, hold up! Those are 2 of my favorite writers. Luckily, I found myself very immersed in this book. The collection is primarily about Mizrahim, aka Jews of Middle Eastern descent. It's a community that is very often overlooked in world literature, and Sabari, a Yemeni-Israeli author, really does them justice. My favorite story, Invisible, actually moves away slightly by making the protagonist an illegal Filipina caretaker to an elderly Yemeni Jewish woman. Sabari weaves these 2 people together poignantly. In the past, the elderly woman had to hide from Yemeni officials who wanted to take her away from her family. In the present, our protagonist must hide from Israeli immigration police. Both of these women are obviously looking for a sense of home and for security. The language is also very beautiful, certainly reminiscent of Goodman and Lahiri. And beyond probing many of the aspects of Mizrahi life, she also probed many different geographical areas of Israel, from flashy Tel Aviv to religious Jerusalem, hippies near Sinai, and loners at the Dead Sea. Some stories also took place in diverse parts of Canada, British Columbia, Toronto, Vancouver. Sabari made the world seem vast and real. I look forward to reading more from her. You can find links to my full reviews for these works below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.